is funk. Thoughts deep, boys steeped in the depths that he sunk. Big stress, depressed in the middle of fall. Sky gray, I late in the thick of it all. I wonder, how long can a human survive? Just staying alive or carrying the rest of the tribe? Waiting for the day to arrive or struggling dies. And I be doing way, way more than getting by. So why? Cop myself a cup of coffee. Sip of water in it softly. Cleansing me of stress I hold. Hey, cop myself a cup of coffee. Sip of water in it softly. Cleansing me of stress I hold. Realize life is so much more than just living a day. Every day I can sit and reflect and reconnect to myself and all that I've been given. See, giving up is not an option. So while I'm looking at gray skies, I'll be adopting a new way to deal with a test. Lord, relieve me of stress and bring me looking like when blessings drop in. And so I cop myself a cup of coffee, sip of water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Coffee, sip of water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Hey, here we go. Yeah. Let's do this. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. In times of test, let no harm beset me, oh my Lord, oh my Lord.
Get yourself together before it's too late. Well, good evening, everybody. Hopefully the sound is okay. You'll tell me if it isn't. That's the first order of the evening. Sound doesn't work. We've got problems. Oh, well, looks like people are here already. Well, so let's see what we have already. Veg, good evening. Good evening, Veg. Good evening to you. Good to see you, as always, really. Sandy, I'm here. I'm just getting stuff done because it's cooler at night. Yeah. Great video last week for you, Sandy. With that crazy woman, that insane right-wing Christian nationalist or whatever the hell she was. Great video. Joey, good to see you. Nina, wonderful to see you. Wow, we've got mainly a Canadian audience, and those of you who are not from Canada probably live within 100 miles of the border, so. All right, so it sounds great. I'm going to turn the volume down just a teeny bit. So let's see what it is. More or less on time than it's 9:04. Divided We Stand. A weekly program. If you're new to the show and you're watching, we don't monetize. We appreciate all the subscribers that we can get so we can commiserate and keep up with all the different news of the week that can keep us safe or protect us in some way from the next week. We also have a Facebook group page called Divided We Stand. That page, I really should be doing these videos on the group page, because we have well over 1,200 members and probably get a lot more viewers, but I'd have to do the restream thing again. I was really upset with that. So I just share this to the Facebook group page. So anyway, it's wonderful as usual to see everybody. Updates. I have not spoken to Dave all week, so I don't really know how well he's doing. It's not that I don't want to speak with him, but as you know, the way it's set up between me and Dave is this way. Dave will let me know when he can speak, or when he feels good enough to speak. He'll either text me or he'll call me. Last week, when we last saw each other, I mentioned that I spoke with Dave for over an hour, and he sounded really good. But as he told me then, every minute is different than the next, and sometimes he'll just get on the couch and he can't get up. And he's going through this phase where they have to test the medications. So I give Dave his space. I would love to keep texting him saying, Dave, how you doing? How you doing? But I know Dave, and he needs that space until this gets figured out, which will happen. And believe me, I can't wait until we're back, because we do need him here. And Dave needs to be here for himself. He really does. And you may know that he has a couple of other podcasts, and he can't do those right now. So it's really tough for him. And his wife, Judy's been going through a lot of stuff herself. So it's like the blind leading the blind. But nonetheless, we keep going. Okay, I see a few more comments here. 88 miles from the border. Well, then you're basically a Canadian, right? The closer you get, the more you are. Or something like that. No, that's not that far, is it? It really isn't. You have to get out of town. You can do it in, an hour and a half, and you're good. Okay, Restream. Let me explain to everybody a little bit about Restream. I mean, I'm not going to go into a tutorial about different streaming platforms, but a couple of years ago, actually for the last 4 or 5 years with Ecamm, this program that I use here, so you can see this kind of stuff, I purchased a couple of years of streaming software from Restream. I think they're like either Russian or Ukrainian or whatever. I don't know. At least the owners are or whatever. But that's another story. So it allows you to stream on multiple platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Facebook groups, Twitter, Twitch, blah, blah, blah. And at one time, you could do it for free and do quite a few, but they wouldn't let you have the groups, because that's really where it matters with Facebook, because that's where you get the most number of people, through the groups. So I can't stream the group without going through Restream. And I had a problem with them because, I had a discount and I was like a day or two late. And I said, well, I'll do this again. And they didn't give me a break, and I had to pay the full price the whole year. It was a real pain in the ass. They may have given me a little bit back later. I don't know. But I thought, and I discussed it with Dave, and I thought, you know what? Really all I need to do is do one platform and then share it out. Not the best thing, but if I'm only going to get 30 or 40 people watching at any one time, I didn't see any use of using Restream, right? I'm kind of waiting for Ecamm to be able to do what Restream does. Okay, and they'll probably charge us for it, which is fair. I get it. But I'd rather do it through this platform. And I think eventually that's going to happen, and it'll be cleaner. And that's just what happened. You know, Restream can get very, very expensive over time, and especially if you want to add, different social media to, broadcast, it can get up there in price. And again, this is not a big channel. This is just myself, David, and the kind audience, yourself. And when you're talking about 30 or 40 people live, it's probably not, for me. Okay, so let me check a few more and then we'll get into the show. Okay, I just don't have any moderators in Twitch, and I need help in Facebook. I mean, literally, I'd rather just transmit to Facebook group. I think that would be the best thing. But, I don't know if Ecamm lets me do the group or not. Like, I forget about that. But in any case, I can take the link and drop it into the group. I probably should be on the Facebook platform because those are the more political people for like the things that I'm talking about. But for right now, this is fine. All right. New York should become our newest prime. It might happen one day. You know what I mean? If you had to choose between President Cruz and going to Canada, it's really easy. I'd welcome. Yeah, New York State. The problem is, though, there are a lot of Trumpers in, upper New York State. It's not like real clean Democratic. You have basically New York City, Manhattan, but then after that, it's iffy. It's really iffy. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting, and I've alluded to this before, that we can look at like the very people who watch this show, you, Veg, Nina, Kevin Wheeler. Culturally, I am more similar to them than, say, people in Arkansas or Alabama. And that's not putting people in Alabama down or anything like that. It's just that geographically, you can almost forget about the labels of a country, but geographically, how close you are to that group kind of makes you part of this, metropolitan area, so to speak. And you even see it in language, how accents evolve, dialects. There's that Detroit accent, tire, and fire, like two syllables, and then Windsor, Canada is not much different. Buffalo, New York, and just along the border to Canada, it's not really all that much different. But there's a big difference between, say, Detroit, Michigan, and Houston, Texas. Although I guess if you get enough people coming down there, it changes. Bella's here. Keith Hayes, good to see you. Okay, all of a sudden I can stream to 4 places and they did not charge me anymore. That's good. I just know this. They have, at least in what I've seen, they have limited the number of free things you can do, which is just, I think, 2 different platforms. If you purchase them, I see the big one is, is Facebook groups. I can stream with Restream to my regular personal page. And I've done that before. I did that years ago. And that's just like posting your political stuff on your personal page, and it's just fireworks, which I had. I had, a lot of my conservative friends. I didn't know they were conservative. They were friends from the past, elementary school, middle school, high school. And we thought we were cool until Weinstein started posting his anti-Republican stuff, or basically anti-conservative, anti-establishment material. And I'm telling you, people just couldn't take me. And then you just realized, just how far away, there was no bridge between the two. So while I can broadcast to Facebook, I can't do it to the group page. And that's the whole ball game there. Because then you're within your group. It's kind of obvious you're going to broadcast to the people who associate with you, just like the Fox people associate with the Trumpers. CNN generally Democratic. MSNBC, Democratic. So it kind of works the same way, but just at a much smaller level with me. And it's just a decision of how much money do I want to spend on something when I look, I only have 8 people in the room right now, 9. So I just don't see the reason to do it, at least not right now. I mean, I'd probably gain, 8 people, then I'd have 17 or 16, whatever it is. Yeah, Bell, I was just mentioning Dave. I have not spoken to him almost 2 weeks now, and that's got me worried. But again, I give him the space. We have our, the oral contract where I just give him his space. I mean, I could literally call him right now, but it would be very tough for him. It really would. I mean, again, literally from minute to minute, things change. At least when I last spoke to him, he said some of the problems, he would sleep during the day and be wide awake at night. And he's taking a lot of medication, so that does things to your body. If you looked at the last, I don't want to get into this, but I'll just be open. Dave would be open with it. If you look at the last video from Divided We Stand with Dave, and you notice he was doing this, and that was the one he held in there. He had a really, it may not have seemed like he had a problem, but his hands were moving, and it's just really tough for him. My wife and I, we feel so bad for Dave. He's a great guy. He really is. We joke a lot here, things like that. But Dave's a really, really good person, as is his wife. And it's tough not having him on here because he's knowledgeable, he's creative. He's got, like any artist, an artist takes energy and organizes it in any way he or she can, whether it's drawing or speaking or singing or whatever. And it's taking that energy, and Dave has a lot of energy, and he does it by streaming it into political discussion, or historical discussions. Right? So they don't bill me on because I did not give them the automatic billing. Well, that's probably a good thing. Believe me, I had a problem with the billing with them, and some of it was my own damn fault. I waited too long, but they don't remind you that much, like once a year. Oh, by the way, it's kind of like an app on your phone. If you're not looking for those subscriptions, they're going to carry over into the next year. Okay. Yeah. And if you watched the what was the series on HBO, the plot to plot to save America. I don't know what it was. Whatever. It's funny. I don't remember. It was only a 1 year. Let me just see if I can dig it. The Plot Against America? Yeah, The Plot Against America. I mean, that was a great series, and in that series, the refuge was Canada. It was Canada. If anybody gets a chance, I mean, that was the theme, is there was no place to go. If Charles Lindbergh had become president, that's what would have happened. And people were saying, I've got to go north. And I believe the same thing was with Handmaid's Tale. Everybody wanted to go to Canada. Because usually when you think of escaping people, Lady Liberty coming to the United States. Well, something funny happened on the way to the park, so to speak, right? All right. I want to take a moment to have a moment of silence. Perhaps this is done in poor taste, but got to do it. That is the gravesite of Ivana Trump. Now, Some of you who follow the Facebook page know that through Twitter that it's been a buzz with this, because this is her grave. It's at his golf course. And now it can be considered a cemetery, and therefore Donald gets a tax cut. A break. You know, that's the tackiest thing, you know, like on your golf course. I don't know if I can blow this up much more. Yeah. It just has her birth date, it looks like, and her death date. What a loving former husband, right? What do you think of that? Pretty sick, huh? It shows you the type of person he is, the lack of decency. I mean, look, I'm no fan of Ivanka Trump. I was no fan of her. But that? Oh, well, that's good news, Sandy. People are starting to dislike Trump. Maybe because they're so embarrassed. I mean, they just know the truth. You know, I talk about Russia all the time, politically speaking. And Boris Nemtsov, you know, was the physicist who was, you know, going to be the next president of Russia at one time. At least they thought it, you know, right around 2003. Of course, he was killed in 2004. But Boris Nemtsov was the one who said, everybody knows. And I think in this case, I think everybody knows. And when does this type of person jump ship? You know, it's like I know so many people who 10 years ago, maybe longer than 10 years ago, 15 years ago at the school where I worked, I talked about climate change and global warming. And everybody boo-hooed it. And people who kind of were in between would say something, as you know, like this. They would say, well, I know it might be getting hotter, but it's because there are cycles in the planet's weather, and we're just in a warm cycle. As if that was something to really believe in. And of course, you had to explain to them, well, cycles are over millions of years and not over 100 years. But you see, these same people, and some of them who are actually on our political side now, I know at least one who now, two. One's a science teacher who outright, you know, is saying everything that I'm saying now, as well as another person, because they didn't want to embarrass themselves. I mean, it's just like you're turning yourself away from the truth, and you're going to embarrass yourself. And I think that there are some people who have enough intelligence that they don't want to be embarrassed, because they know. And maybe it's that, you know, Nemtsov thing that, you know, maybe they do know, maybe everybody knows, but at what point are they shamed? Are they, in this case, too embarrassed to hold the lie? You know what? I don't really care, because in my opinion, they waited too long anyway. And you know what? I'm sure you've seen the same thing. You know, again, these are people who, they're not the worst people. I mean, right now they're decent. They're saying the right things. But all you have to do is go back 5 or 10 years, and they were talking shit. You know, even the religious people, you know. So, yeah. So some are kind of, you know, flipping. But that's kind of like, you know, was it Nick Mulvaney, who all of a sudden is trying to, I had to call it quits after January 6th, after I saw that. And, yeah, but you were on his side before that, like Bill Barr. Yeah, you know that Rudy Giuliani was nuts. But before that, you were willing to go along with his plan. So it's hard to accept these people. And in fact, that's part of the problem. Because I think because we have short memories in American culture, especially with media, that people like Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham will be able to one day just turn it around and say, I've had it with this. I know Lindsey Graham's already said that once. And they'll be given such gratitude for what they've done. They came over to that side and say, I've had it, this no more bullshit, Trump's a liar. And they may get to that point. But it was in the meantime. And because we don't live that long, we had to put up with that shit. And some people never even got out of it. Some people died with COVID and never got to this point where Trump lost. But it's these other people, they play this egotistical game in their heads, and they say, I was never for that. Yeah, but you waited. You waited too long. And I imagine even some like Fox News 10 years from now, 15 years from now, if we even have a country, if we even have an environment which we can breathe, at some point, they'll just try to erase it all. They'll try to make themselves heroes. And when push came to shove, we came through. No, what you really want are the true heroes, right from the beginning, the Bernie Sanders of the world. He said, this is bullshit. And they stayed with it. That's what you want. Gary, good to see you. Gary, I know you called me last week, I believe. Was it late? I have people sleep and I can't talk on the phone late at night on that. I wanted to tell you that. Nina, again, let's see, Keith is here. We are bohemians lost in time, ships without a port. It's certainly feeling that way, isn't it, Keith? It certainly feels that way. You feel like you're more detached from people, from things. Like, I kind of can relate to Charles Bukowski because he saw people as a danger to him. Being around them always caused a problem for him. Vermont, yeah, I've been through Vermont, contemplating the mysteries of the universe. I didn't expect to have this conversation, and I think maybe I did last week. And I don't want to get too deep tonight, because I do want to go into some things I want to discuss. But just the word reality. I was watching some videos with physicists, and basically what they're saying is, we really, you, me, everybody, we don't really see the reality of the universe because we see everything at a very slow pace. But, at the subatomic level, there's a lot going on at incredible speeds that we never really know. Like, we're only given enough to see something so that we can win in the game of evolution. So we can continue just enough. What we see here, but in reality, like the table in front of you, the carpet on your floor, the wall, those things, and I don't have to tell you this, I'm not a physicist, but at the subatomic level, there's things that's going very, very fast. Now they're kind of frozen within certain areas, but everything's fast. So there's like this fast time throughout the universe. There's a reality of fast time, which means when we see these amazing photographs from the other edge of the universe, we're seeing something from the past that has come here very quickly in terms of speed, but it took a long time in reality. So our reality is never, we see this, we have this band of hearing, we have this band of sight, and I'm not getting ethereal. I'm just saying our reality is not really reality. But what it is it's something that can help us continue in this, whatever you want to call it. And evolution allows us that, But it is real because you feel pain. I feel pain, suffering, and we've discussed that the last few weeks. So it's real. There's no doubt about it. It's real. But reality, in terms of the entire universe, when we talk about these amazing things, we're so far away from it. I could go on for hours talking about this stuff. So, yes, Bella, I've been telling Dave this. Now, again, I haven't spoken to him for 2 weeks, but I will relay all that from all of you. Okay. Kim, good to see you. Kim's out on the West Coast. Guess it's hot there again, right? It's weird saying like the state of Washington is hot. I always thought of like Seattle as being kind of like London, the London fog. Of course, London is more like Texas these days. Yeah, Dave can get you pissed off. Dave was like that at work. I mean, I'm going to be very open with you. People either really hated him or really liked him. But when you knew him, you had to deal with that, He was very, too outspoken sometimes. But I always had patience with Dave, and he liked my naivete, and we played together. We argued all the time, but we joined bands and quit bands together. 95. Wow. Certainly is London now, like the 2022 London. Yeah. All right, so they are disgusting people to the very end, yeah. Melania's Rose Garden, yeah. Wasn't that a piece of shit, Veg? Melania Trump's Rose Garden just destroyed everything, Just, oh. What happens if he sells it? Yeah, that's a good question. What happens if he sells it? I don't know. Yeah, very tacky. Exactly. The larger shrine and the tax break, she'd love it, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Ivana Trump was no winner to me. I mean, why even get hooked up with a guy like that? Oh, I know why. Okay. I'm definitely going to be going to the internet in a second. I just want to see if there's any other things. Oh, thank you. Yeah, please click like, folks, or dislike. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you click something and share and whatever, because it does help the channel. As you know, one of the reasons we're trying to help the channel is because we are essentially in a civil war with the Republicans. I mean, the way they're acting now, it's not a violent one right now or anything like that, but we need to do everything we can. Join forces and get out there and vote. Right, Keith, absolutely. It's only going to get hotter. And here's the crime of it all. The very people who said it was bullshit, they're going to be the first in line. Even when the COVID vaccines were just starting, I saw a lot of Republicans getting on that list who shouldn't have been on that list. They weren't older people, but they were getting on that as quickly as possible. They might be religious, but they're getting their ass to the hospital, and they want to be the first in that emergency room. And the methane, we don't have to even go into that. Maybe she's not even in the box. That's a good point, Gary. She may not even be in the box. You're right. You know what? That's a good point. Think about that, folks. He could just throw that there. And looking at that plate, grave plate, and with just the dates, it just seems kind of strange that that kind of money and that kind of name would have had more than that. That's what my parents had. Maybe she's not even in there. You're right. Yeah. Good point, Gary. All right. Artificial Morphous Man. Good to see you. Never seen that name there, but if you're new, feel free to join. Yeah. All right. Let me. I'll get back to the comments in a second or two. Let me find some things that I thought were peculiar this week. Okay. Now, we know that we're just talking about hypocrisy. And I found this really, really good Twitter channel, if I want to call it a channel. And it's called The Good Liars. They're sarcastic as shit. It's great. So I want to put this on. Okay, now I'm going to set this up. So this guy does interviews. He shows up for these things where these conservatives are. And he plays them. And he arrives to this March for Life thing. Now, this was in January, but you got to see this. So this is, it's 6 or 7 months ago, but it's the hypocrisy. It doesn't matter. And there's some more that are recent. I'll show you some of Phil Mickelson. So let me get to it by changing the scene. If I can find it. Oh, this is murder. All right, let's see. All right, can I make that? I'd like to make this bigger, so let me edit this a little bit. Yeah. Now, I'm going to mute the sound effects, and I'm going to put on a loop back. And we'll see how this works. I'm going to try to get as loud as possible. And we'll see how it goes. Make sure that can go all the way up. We'll do our best. All right, so again, this is at a March for Life. Just check it out. I mean, some of you may have even seen something like this before, but well worth watching.
Able to adopt.
I saw the sign, choose adoption.
Yeah.
And how many children have you adopted?
Not able to adopt. I'd love to adopt. We weren't able to adopt.
And how many children have you adopted?
None. We just, this
I
is
have
a
two of my
win-win
own.
message.
Yeah.
And how many children have you adopted?
None.
And how many children have you adopted?
I have two of my own. Yeah.
But so you've adopted?
I have two of my own.
But
I
you
don't
haven't
have
adopted
one.
it. Okay. The message. Okay. I saw the sign. Choose.
Okay. So it's just the message, right? They're willing to give you the message. They're willing to tell you what's the right thing to do. But along the way, they can't do it themselves. And you see that smile. Now, that's a nervous smile because they're catching on like, I can see the point the guy's making. And, I'm not being too Jesus-like here. Okay? Let's look at it a second time. But I'm going to put down the volume on this, okay? I just want you to look at their faces so you can concentrate not on what they say, because it's all bullshit, but look at the way they're, they get that nervous laughter. Sometimes I like doing that, where you look at it in a different way, where you're not really, listening to the words. So here we go. I'm going to take the audio off, okay? I wish I could put this in slow-mo. Here we go. Okay. See, now there's that nervous laughter, okay? Again, you'll see that these two here, they were not laughing in the beginning. They were all serious. See? We really care about this. But when the tide turns, it's almost like a lie detector test. Here we go. The question. Yeah, there you go. See, they're already laughing. That's that nervous laughter. Why are you laughing? Ha 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 ha. No, I don't do it myself. No, I don't do it myself. I'm a schmuck. Yeah, no, I don't do it. I don't do it. No, you save any dogs there? No, I didn't save any dogs. I let them down the road, right? No, I haven't. Yeah. Well, fuck you. If you're going to talk the talk, walk the walk. And this is why I go insane. This is why I can't stand people. Because they do schmucky things. They are so insincere. This is nothing different than that grave at Bedminster. And then people would wonder why I say, let's take a moment of silence and say, oh, that's mean. No, it's the right thing to do. There is a time when the comic, now I'm not considering myself a comic, the Lenny Bruce and the George Carlin and the Richard Pryor, who have to mention something that may go over the line because it deserves it. All right. Let's look at another one or two here, okay? Because I think you'll find this interesting. This is something more recent. This just took place, as you know, or maybe you know, that Trump invited the Saudis. You know, the people who gave Jared Trump and his family $2 billion, bail them out because their property, you know, going under. They're bankrupt. So he invites the Saudis, and of course Trump gets interviewed and says, we haven't gotten to the bottom of it yet. 9/11. No, we got to the bottom of it pretty quickly. It was pretty easy to know that most of them were from Saudi Arabia. So, in this scene, you get Phil Mickelson. So this is recent, and Phil Mickelson shows up for this. Now I may have to show this twice. You're not seeing a very big version of this. I wish I could make this larger. Maybe I can. I'm doing my best. All right. Okay. So Phil Mickelson. Obviously, he's going to get paid for going there, or either that or he's doing Trump a favor. And this same guy from The Good Liars confronts him. And we're going to also look at the people who are standing around them, because anybody who goes to Bedminster obviously is going to be a Trumper. Like, my cousin who's a Trumper had a neighbor who's very close with a guy from Foreman Mills. Now, if you're not familiar with Foreman Mills, they sell cheap clothing to lower income people, and the owner of Foreman Mills, you know, shaking hands with Trump. I've got a picture of it somewhere, but I don't want to get any kind of trouble right now. But I do have a picture of him shaking hands with Trump. I wonder how that would work with his business. Anyway, let's check this one out. I'll get the volume up.
All right, behind me right there is Phil Mickelson, the face of this new golf league being bankrolled by the Saudi government. $100 million. That's all it took for him to come here.
So you can see he got paid. I didn't realize that. $100 million. I probably should have listened more carefully. So this Saudi golf league. Okay, $100 million. But let's check it out.
And I guess forget about that journalist that was chopped up by the Saudi government. Hey, Phil, give us a wave. Let's go. Yeah. Yeah, give me a look.
See, now everybody's cool with him. He set it up perfectly, you know. He set it up perfectly because now they all think that, you know, he's on the team. So they thought. So check it out.
Yes, thumbs up. Thank you. All right.
Last hour, Phil Mickelson teed off here at the 16th hole just behind me. Here's what happened.
Do it for the Saudi royal family.
Okay, so he says, do it for the Saudi royal family. He net him there, and then he throws Mickelson off, and then the guy that's in front of him says, go shut the fuck up. There's your Trumper. That's your January 6th guy. Okay? So, The Good Liar's not done. Okay, something like out of Goethe. It was the foreword to Bulgakov's The Master of the Margarita. It's like seeing the devil as somebody who's an effective tool for God, because the devil, always puts the liars and the creeps and the murderers or whatever in a position where they're caught. He knows how to deal with them. So the devil is somebody who does good for God. Like he's an evil one, but he's what you need to really mess it up. And so I say this is why these are good liars. Okay, let's see the rest of this.
Come on, man. One more time and we'll escort you out.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. All right, behind me right.
Okay, he's very sorry. Yeah, I mean, they're fantastic, and there have been other ones. I know there was one with the NRA. If I could show you, I don't know if he has it here. It's probably somewhere along here, but God, it was great. I could literally show you any one of these, and it would work. All right, well, let's just look at this. Isn't the one I was talking about. It says here, a year ago, I bet a woman $100 that JFK Jr. was not going to come back from the dead to become vice president with Donald Trump. Has enough time passed to collect. So let's listen to this shit. Okay.
Trump Kennedy 2021. What does that shirt mean?
I think that JFK Jr. is still alive.
The guy who died in the plane crash in the late 90s? You think he's still alive?
I do.
And he's going to come back and be president with Trump this year?
I hope so.
But how would Trump become president this year? There would be a new election?
There's a lot of things I think have happened, and there's some things I think I know, and a lot of things I don't.
Okay. And one thing you do know is John F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive?
That's what I believe.
Okay. Do you want to bet? Do you want to bet on it? I'll bet $100 that JFK Jr. doesn't come back from the dead. To do it.
But I don't think he's dead.
Okay. I'll bet $100 that he's not alive.
But I
you bet 100?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Great.
Okay.
Sweet. Trump Kennedy 2021. What does that shirt mean?
And again, these are the people who are lying to themselves. All right, let me check a few of your comments here because I want to keep up with what's going on in the. Let's see. Guess you're talking about the weather here. All right, Artificial Morphous Man. On NPR today, Hickenlooper was on and said Joe Manchin cares about his constituents. No mention of Manchin's coal company and other corruption. Yeah, I gave a reply to Manchin. Said he was, self-serving, and the only what he cared about was himself, and a few other comments. I think that it's important that we have pressure like this. You need pressure. And comedians are perfect. This is why, SNL, I'll watch it. Although tonight, I don't know, they've got the reruns. But the comedians can be such a force because they can humiliate people so well that even if they're a Trumper, and they're for Trump, if they look stupid and humiliated, they don't want to be humiliated because that's the number one thing. They don't want to look bad. This is why, for example, the second greatest fear is speaking in public for most people. Right? I can find a kid in high school that is most likely to get in a fight during the year in the halls. Won't back down. Now, part of that's psychological because it make them look weak. But you ask students to come up and speak. My God. It's like pulling teeth. So I think humiliation can work. And who better than the comedians to do it? And the ones on the other side, there aren't too many of them, like Dennis Miller. I mean, most of them aren't very funny anyway. Yeah. But we need Manchin. Now the real worry is cinema. And Dick Durbin, he pissed me off. I mean, he's okay, but, he has COVID, which is, he's got to quarantine, and they need to get that vote in early next week because, you don't want anybody changing their minds. Right? And we still don't know what cinema's going to do. You assume she'll do the right thing. But, Dick Durbin testing positive for COVID, wear your goddamn mask, Dick. We need to get this done quickly. Really quickly. The attempt must be there. It was better today. I think everywhere in the Northeast it was better. Yorkville, the National Electrical Code. Okay. me see. I'm just leafing through this. Okay. Look. All right. Right. You could say that. Absolutely. Yeah. Doesn't have all the answers, but it's the best thing we've got, because the other guy, he's coming up with a big zero. I know some of you are religious, don't like that, but he's like Captain Zero. I'm seeing here, I get a lot of comments. I want to get to what I just showed here. Thank you, Artificial Morphous Man. I appreciate that. And I like your comments too. I really do. Love the good liars. Hysterical. Yeah. There we go. I'm catching up now. All right. Wes. Who knows? Maybe it was fate. I'm grilling around the garden. KK. Tell us what. If I went on live, I'd get it. I get it. I'm thinner with better hair. Yeah, that's right. I used to have hair. I used to be thin too. Long time ago. That's where I draw the line. If those were my whole house would be open. The needy mom is the message. No. The guy is the asshole. I don't know. I think Bulgakov would disagree. All right. Perfect place to plant her. That's good. She loved golf. Just left her in the sand pit. Pretty easy to know. No planes crashed on. I'm not going to get into that one. Okay. All right. September 11th is when terrorism went big time, and who be on the T list? Environmental activists. All right. He's not me. I'm not he. Yes, Jared did get $2 billion from the Saudis. But the real question obviously is if he's getting $2 billion, you can bet he's getting a lot. He's giving up a lot more. So what were they getting? Favors had to be done. Yeah. All right. I think we'll move on. So anyway, great Twitter thing to follow there. The Good Liars. Okay. I've been watching their videos for about a half year to a year. But I've been following them on Twitter since today. I don't have too many followings there. Humiliation only pisses people off. Right. And see, here's the difference. And I think Emendem said it correctly. For those who don't know who Emendem is, somebody I watch. He has the Do Not God channel. And Emendem still does, he will humiliate people sometimes. Other times he'll take a different tack. But as he has said, for some people it has to be done. because they're intransigent or unassailable. What do? You know, it's kind of ridiculous on you. Sometimes you have to. These people go maundering on. You know, you got to put an end to that crap. And yeah, they may get pissed off, but maybe that's what's going to break their fever, so to speak. I don't know. I just don't have any answer. I just know that leaving them to their own devices, I don't know. Yes, Biden has COVID again, Kim, and apparently it's kind of a rare situation, but he doesn't have any symptoms. Some of the answers, yeah, they're getting there. They have enough right now that you can kind of figure out how this universe generally works. You know, we're all tubes, things that live. They has to consume something and excrete something. Yeah. And there's a lot of eating going on. This thing has to live to eat this, or eat to live this. Wes, everybody's asking, who is Wes Webb? Are you a troll? Are you a Trumper? Are you something in between? As the POTUS says, well, thing like this just happened, but that fucking asshole dyes his fucking hair. Who's that? We talking about Trump? Yeah. Not only is he dyeing it, I think he had that scalp reduction back in the 70s. Something like that. Yeah, when we're dead, we're dead. If you're dead for a minute, you're dead for a billion years, right? All right. All right. It seems that our chat room's moving at a faster state of tune tonight, which is interesting. All right, let me dig up some other things here. Okay, this you saw, but you would think for the type of wealth that Trump has, or purportedly has, there'd be something more than that. Yeah. Okay, we saw that. All right. Just a few quick comments relating to some older Divided We Stands. You know, David and I have always gone against Fox and kept our eyes open wide, or one eye open wide. I'm not going to go into any of the specific stories here, but what gets me about Fox is that it because it is propaganda, it's essentially, you know, a propaganda arm that it does its best by just attacking Democrats no matter what. Okay? That's the whole game. They don't say what the Republicans are going to do. Let me move myself here. You have Dan Bongino here. Lunatic. Okay. What's the first word you see? You know, Democrat. Crime and inflation. You know, so just code words to get that base upset. You see, because that's all a Trumper has to do. You know, the same person who believes that JFK Jr. is going to come back and become vice president, they only go by 3 or 4 words. Democrat bad. Crime, inflation. And a few other things too. But any real news, you know, Biden, Americans are feeling the pain of Biden's economy. And look, they try to co-opt really the flag, just by look at the colors, red, white, and blue. As though they were more American than us. And this goes on every day. And again, this is just enough to work. I have a cousin who, as I told you, is a Trumper out in Las Vegas. Spoke to him last night. We get in explosive arguments. We try not to talk politics, but then he just can't take it anymore, and he has to start talking and ask me questions. And that the same thing comes up. You know, he thinks that, you know, there, you know, hundreds of thousands of people coming across the border, the country's economy's in the tank. And he thinks Biden's a mob boss. Talks about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden's not even the president. He doesn't even hold political position. We've never even seen his laptop. I've yet to see his laptop. And that's all they have. They go from Hillary Clinton to Hunter Biden. And it's enough. And this is why I say sometimes you have to humiliate these people. Because maybe it's the only thing that's going to shut them up. I don't know. So here you go. Let me go back to the internet for a second here. And they have a much better doctor than what Trump had. That guy's a lunatic. Jackson. Then we have Kentucky. Now this is interesting because all of you know incredible flooding going on in Kentucky, the rain and such. Kentucky's got probably the two worst senators in the country, Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell, but they do have a Democratic governor, which is a good thing in these cases because he has a relationship with Biden, and Biden's already come through making sure they're going to get their FEMA funds. Now, if that had been New York or New Jersey or especially Massachusetts, you know, Trump would let it go on. In fact, if you remember Trump during COVID, you know, he was making sure that certain states were going to have the benefit of more of the masks and such. He was going to make it difficult for the blue states. Not something Biden doesn't have that in him. Kind of angry, but you know, I think it would be the best thing not to do. I mean, don't do that kind of stuff. Don't be like them. You could do it, but you've got, you know, a lot of people that do care in Kentucky. One of our guests from the past, Ryan Velez, posted in our group page an interesting fact that, you know, as much as you've got two senators there, there are a lot of registered Democrats in Kentucky, but for some reason they just keep, you know, voting conservatively unless something's screwed up there. I don't know. Yeah. A rebound of the COVID case, but I think he'll be fine. His problem is more a political one than a health one right now. All right, let's go back. few other channels. I know Sandy watches some of these channels that I would suggest if you're at all interested in getting, good feedback on what's really going on. You're probably going to be surprised at this one, but if I can get this right. This is Stuttering John's channel. Okay, definitely want to check that out because he usually has Richard Ojeda on there. He's from West Virginia. Good guy. I'll just play a real quick clip from this just so you get an idea of what's on here.
Drying up, these coal operators have been able to do things like file for bankruptcy and then say sorry to all of their workers, by the way, who work 12-hour shifts 6 days a week.
So Richard Ojeda is a real good guy, but Stuttering John has great guests. And he has around 16,000 subscribers, which is not really a lot. And I guess part of it is because he doesn't have the glitz as an interviewer, and he doesn't have the technology right now. But in terms of information, whether he gets Glenn Kirshner on, Jennifer Cohn, Richard Ojeda, Hal Sparks, this is a really good channel. I think if you want to keep up with things, and Stuttering John Melendez, good guy, real good guy, and he will, answer some of the comments. He's done it for me. He didn't agree with the name Divided We Stand. He is one who believes that United We Stand, but I can't have a discussion with him. He's busy, but he doesn't understand that what we mean by Divided We Stand is that as long as the Republican Party in this state is going to act this way, whether it's the political party or its constituents, there's no need to work with him at all. There's no sense whatsoever. Okay. And if you're familiar with Hal Sparks, let me just quick. I know that Sandy watches Hal Sparks. And Hal Sparks is on every day, a few times during the days. I think he has a morning show and then an afternoon show. Really smart, as they say, a wicked smart guy. And he not only will go after the Republicans, but he goes after the people who are on the fence. He has destroyed and done it well. Destroyed Jimmy Dore. I mean, he called him out. Even the Young Turks he called out. And he did it in such a way that, he made sense. A lot of sense. Because he, quite frankly, is more intelligent than Jimmy Dore. They're both comedians. But Hal Sparks has this natural intelligence. I just think he's just one of these people. He's like in Mendham, didn't go to school for this or that in college or anything like that, but he's got this natural brilliance, the kind of thing they say Bill Gates would have had. Just, there's no sense staying in school here. With those type of people, he's that type, or he's that type, right? There you go. It's Hal Sparks. So that's another one, my suggestion, if it means anything. You can go pretty far just by sticking with Hal Sparks and John Melendez. I also would suggest Glenn Kirshner, who, prosecuting attorney. It's a really good site. But I say those three sites, you can pretty much stay ahead of everything. And they go, much more in depth. You don't have to worry about the commercials, things like that. Yeah, that's my suggestion. You'll be better for it. I know I have, speaking from personal experience. But I'd have to say that I think Hal is, of all of them, I don't use this a lot, often, but he's brilliant. John has got the heart of somebody who's brilliant, and he does an important thing. He knows what the difference between right and wrong, and he puts it out there. But Hal is the one who can really get into the minutia. He's kind of like a Hitchens in a certain way. Maybe not in the sense of vocabulary, but he's got a brilliance. Like I said, he's destroyed. He destroyed the Young Turks and Jimmy Dore the last month. It's just, as he said, he was going to sheepdog these people. They're going to play this shit and hang on the fence. He was going to sheepdog them, and that's what he did. That's what he did. All right, let's go back to the comments. Show's not going to be too long today, so I want to make sure I get through the commentary here. I can't find it. While I'm doing this, I did see Meisterpool's show this past week. Dropped it on that live stream. Really good guy. He subscribes to this channel. Every once in a while, he shows up in the chat. Get a chance to check out his channel, please do, because he has a lot of good things to say. And, well worth checking it out. All right, let's check some of the commentary out. Yeah, who's my mod? I forget. Is it Veg? I think he looks like somebody I know. At least somebody. I'm trying to think. Wes, I'm trying to think who you look like. David Grisman, maybe? The mandolin player? Something like that. It was my peeps. Thank you, Veg. Yeah, Wes, man. These are good people, man. They're not looking for issues. They're chilling. Karen, good to see you. All right. You can't dive if you want to, well. Who said that? Jesus? Without having my talents do it. Too weird. Good. Yeah. Trev, yeah, you've got the wrench, Trev. I forget. I think I have 2 wrenches out there. I don't have time to wrench. I wouldn't even know how to use it. But thank you if you used it. Did you use it? I'm kind of behind the commentary here. Bark Eat Erden. Progressive. That's all I need to see. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. All right. Our brave socialist. Thank you. Thank you. So is he gone, I guess? Titanic. It's kind of interesting, though, the fact that we even have a troll, assuming that he was a troll. Is such a small channel? So how did somebody find? Maybe somebody did a search. Maybe it's working. Maybe these likes and dislikes and shares are actually helping some people just run by it. What's this? This bald idiot talking. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with T-Bone. I have no problem with T-Bone. I did ask him to come on, I think the week after he came on. He says he can't come on. So I don't think there was anything between me and T-Bone, because I had 0 problems with him. I don't know what was going. If there may have been something going on in the chat room, I don't know. One of those days. I would think it would have been the week after T-Bone was on. But in terms of me and T-Bone, I thought T-Bone was great. I'd like to have him on again. He's great. I miss him. So I don't think I said anything bad. I hope not. I don't want to offend anybody unless they deserve it, but he didn't deserve anything. He's a good guy. Real good guy. I think about his channel. Tried to help him. I don't know. I can no longer hear all the BS they speak. Projection, yeah, a lot of projection going on there. Odds are that Biden was always positive and got a false negative. The tests are not perfect. Yeah, that's right. Although you'd expect the ones with the presidents would be pretty good. Like, I'm sure he had multiple tests. But he's an older guy, too, you know? Okay. The socialist wrenches. I'll give him... Oh, I hope he doesn't. If he's talking about his own channel, he shouldn't give up. I mean, he's been doing this kind of thing for a long time, I think. Because I only subscribed to his channel, I don't know, about 4 months ago or whatever. I know Sandy talked about it. I checked it out. I thought it was creative. And he has a lot of great things to say. It's not just, you know, animated graphics. It's what he says. So... just because nobody, you know, maybe you're not getting, I don't get any more than 20 people in the chat room at any one time here. I got 19 right now. So with me, it's 20. That's it. The algorithms aren't going to work for any of us here, you know, unless you're getting thousands and thousands of people watching. You're going nowhere in this place. That was a bad freeze, too. Or something like that. Ugh. He seemed okay. Yeah, we can all be disappointed. It's, you know. Yeah, I think monkeypox people probably heed the warnings because, again, it leaves you kind of disfigured when you have it. Nobody wants to look bad, you know. Nobody wants to show their age, the wrinkles, the monkeypox. Ooh. But I think if I'm correct, it's transmitted through actually touching, you know. Yeah. John Anderson. John Anderson meaning John Anderson from the rock group Yes? I don't know. Michael Smerconish was in Philly, on the Philly radio back in the 1980s. A guy named Irv Homer. He used to always give him shit. At that time, Irv Homer was more popular than Smerconish. Yeah, it doesn't scare me. I just don't want it, you know. Sent me a screenshot of his channel analytics. They went totally flat. Well, maybe I should give him a screenshot of mine. Look at this. 20 people. I don't care, you know. I mean, I'd like more people, but not at the expense of, you know, doing goofy videos and advertising and all that crap. Yeah, it is discouraging, you know. You know, I go back to talking about In Mendham, because Meisterpool and I were bringing up some old things, like when Mendham was in Stickham and Flogger-Dome. You know, in Mendham, I mean, right off the top, he was doing really, really well at the beginning of YouTube. He was, you know, 10,000 subscribers, and he was growing. And I don't know how many subscribers he has now, but I don't think he has 15,000. I think he's probably under that. And you would think somebody like that would have millions right now, because you'd see the progression. But no, he doesn't. He does what I do. He doesn't advertise, doesn't monetize or anything like that. It's not his way. He just wants the video to go on, say what you have to say, make your point. But, you know, YouTube's algorithms aren't going to help him out, Google. So there's no reason to really get depressed, because it's all depressing. You know, the key is make your statement and keep your circle of friends. And we can all help each other out. It was great having T-Bone on. I want to have him on again. He really has something to say, and I mean that. I'm not just saying it, you know, because he's a good guy with something to say. In fact, I pay more attention to what he's saying than the graphics, which are really fine that he has. And I think that's a cool thing to do, to use that, as I say, that that energy it's art, creating something, channel it in your way, and that's what he does. The real issue is it good or not? And it is. So the numbers don't really matter. Maybe with Google it does, but not for us. I really don't watch Southern John, but I do watch Benelite Loco's channel. And when she's doing dabs and teaching us ways that I've never heard to consume cannabis. Yeah, I put some hemp oil on my back yesterday. You hate to see me itch. I've been using hemp oil. My wife uses hemp oil. I don't know how well it's working, but there's cannabis in hemp oil. Hemp's great. It can be used for so many things. So, I can't tell you how to use it. I just put some stuff on and say, okay, let's see what happens. $50. Because I can't take any of it for now. Well, with Hal, I say Hal's great to me. I think the only thing that I don't like about Hal Sparks, it gets too cutesy sometimes because he is funny. But I don't know that I want the comedy routine all the time. He's so intelligent that just stating the things that show that he has insight, just work with that. And that's just my opinion, but he can do it whatever the hell he wants. It's his channel. It's successful. Who am I to tell? I got 20 people in my chat room, but 20 important people too. But I like Hal. I think I get a dose of him a little bit every day. I don't watch all the shows, Sandy, but he's well worth it. I'd be online all day. Well, yeah, I only do it in the summer, and of course during the school year, I try to just pick and choose. And also, what I do is I put the speed of the videos usually at double speed. It sounds strange, but at least you get through it more quickly. Watch Charmageddon. Hal's comedy is hilarious. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, tonight seems to be the chat room thing. That was interesting with that guy Wes. It was just sometimes he get kind of nebulous out there. Something's going on, because sometimes people will purposely get that way to create some type of stir. What's going on? Who is he? That kind of thing. I don't know. But this is a good group of people. No need to do that. So he's welcome to come back if he plays the straight role. Technophobic utopian hopium for me on climate change. I cringe. Yeah, well. Yeah, that's pretty much what Guy McPherson says. When I took popular culture, one of the big things in American culture is the idea that technology is the savior. And in some cases it has been. And I think that at some point it may be the only thing that can save us. Just look at the people who are screwing things up, not just in our country. And we really should be taking the lead, but these Republicans just, technology can enslave us. I agree to a certain extent, but I think that in the end, you still want to go forward in time and not back. That those simpler days, to me, Keith, I just personally think I'd rather go forward than back. I don't know. Technology does create a problem, but it solves a lot too. Maybe it's a neutral, but I'd still want to go forward. This is pretty bad. Up to this point in human history, it's been mostly bad. That's, of course, opinion, but it doesn't look good. destroys humanity. It can. He's long gone. Okay, so we're talking about Wes Webb. For some reason, I think he was on here before. And I'm trying to remember. I'm thinking maybe a couple of years ago. He was on before. And maybe he wasn't wrenched because maybe there were no audience members with wrenches then. It's amazing that I even have a troll. I'm kind of impressed. I mean, this channel is so small that it's almost impossible to have a troll. Yeah, I couldn't deal with Jimmy Dore because I'd always find, just like Hal, but I would always find something that, no, it's not exactly right, and he was just too one-sided. And Hal, like I say, Hal just destroys him. And I don't know. I just can't deal with Jimmy Dore. He's not helpful in this situation. Karen. Good to see you, Karen, of course. Where am I now? Okay. It may be a small channel, but they have a budget to spend. Yeah. Lounge back. Veg, what would we do with... I don't know what I do without you here. It's funny, just when I see your avatar, you know, I get relaxed. There's Veg, he's there. I'll be honest with you, Veg. If I were in London, Ontario tonight, I'd be chilling with you. It'd be really easy to talk to you. Really easy. You're cool. Honestly, it's just a shame when I was playing hockey, I didn't play up in London. The London Knights or something up there. So I don't know. I did enough playing in Canada, but it was, you know, half the time I had to just play hockey. I couldn't get to do the other things. Fred Armisen? Gary, is that the guy's name? Or is that a comment to what he was saying? Fred Armisen. If it is Fred Armisen, is there something we should know about him? Or maybe you're joking and he looks like Fred Armisen. I didn't say anything bad. Okay. Yeah, I'm about, 5 minutes late with these comments. Well, I'll have to send him a message or something. Really good guy, you know, and I'd love to have him on. All of you. I mean, look, Nina, T-Bone, Kevin. John fan. I'm not a big Smirkanish fan because I had problems with Smirkanish in the 1980s when he wasn't even on CNN or even involved with any of this shit. I think he's a rabble-rouser of sorts. I think that, in my opinion, he's more of a conservative than anything else, and he tries to hide. He's one of these ones that just goes as far as he can, but doesn't want to, jump in the ring outright and say he's conservative, because he knows that, again, he'd be like the person that would say that, I believe in climate change, but over, knowing that there are cycles. Those kind of people, Smirkanish, to me, he's not a liberal, that's for sure. Yeah, it is quality over quantity, and that's the thing too. I usually don't watch my videos. Every once, I know Dave doesn't. Well, I don't think Dave can. Dave's the type of person, he's kind of like Robin Williams. He's a stream of consciousness. Sometimes I'll watch just to see the mistakes or what's going on with the actual feed. But it's like listening to my own music. Even if I played in the past, long ago when I played in groups, I sometimes would listen just to see my mistakes, and then I couldn't take it after a while. It would always be worse when somebody says, "Wow, you really played great," when you yourself didn't feel like you played great. That was the thing. There is something to quantity, though. I mean, I think putting things out regularly is important. I don't think I could do the daily thing. I'd have to completely devote this channel to the things that I consider important every single day, and I can't because of my job. In the summer, I have more time, but quality obviously is really, really important. Love our yeah, you guys are great. You know, it's kind of strange. I wish that Ecamm had like the Zoom thing where you could have 20 people together, because it'd be kind of cool if we, because that was the thing that I think Mr. Poole was talking to me about a couple days ago. If you go check his channel out, he was going to delete the video, but I think he's going to leave it up because we had a good conversation. I wasn't live with him. I mean, I was, but I was in the chat room. I was just typing. And he said that one of the things he thought was great about Stick'em, which is where Emendum was in, is that, all these people could just start jumping in. But the problem with that is that there were a lot of trolls. You could kick them out, but they could just change their name and then they would come back in again. So Stick'em was this great platform because, like right now, everybody could start jumping in and saying, Weinstein, I don't agree with you on this or that, which would be fine. But then if you get somebody like what Wes was doing, and he would get bounced, he could just change his name to Tess, and then he's back in and doing the same shit. And that was the problem that Mr. Poole was talking about. Stick'em had some real interesting things, and it'd be nice if we could all talk. Now I can have 5 of us at one time in here. It does drag on the computer, but I've got a good computer. I should be able to handle it. Fred. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Gary. Thanks. Actually, you look like a rabbi that I used to know or something like that, just really weird. We're talking about Wes. Look like a Barry or something like that. Anyway, so back to what I was saying, Stick'em. It'd be kind of cool if we could all, not everybody wants to do the video thing. Back when I teach remotely, a lot of the kids, all of them turn off their cameras. But that would be kind of cool. But this is good enough. Like I say, if I can at least have the communication with you, that's all that really, really matters. I know who all you are from Facebook. Kim, I know you. But it'd be cool if we could have that conversation. I can do up to 5. One day we'll have to do that, Maybe when Dave gets back. We could do it anytime. I don't really care. I burn hempo. I'm doing right now. Wow, Keith. Like I said, I was putting it on my skin like a skin tag that was on my arm. I put it on there. Maybe I'll do it I might not do it tonight after the show. See if it goes off. What's this? Yeah. I find, like what you do, Veg. I know your feeling about doing live versus the recorded. I've always found for me, the recorded thing, because I try to be a perfectionist. Like I like just the perfect song to use, perfect graphics. And when I did those kind of things, like on the iGeneralist channel, which was before it was Head in the Box, the amount of effort that goes into those videos is incredible. It takes so much if you're a perfectionist and you like things, and they're not even perfect, they're just pretty good, but it takes so much time, and you may only get 6 minutes out of a video, right? So this is easier for me because, as it's very little preparation here aside from, because it's like having a debate with somebody. I wouldn't have to go to the library and study up for my debate with somebody. I've been around, I'm 62 years old, I've paid my dues, and unless I'm going to have to talk about something I've never heard of, I should be able to handle the debate. If I've been paying attention for the last 42 years, or 45 years, watching the news, 50 years probably, that's not necessary. So this is why the live thing works for me and Dave, because when we played in a bands together, it was always improvisation. We were the ones who improvised. The others were kind of like, let's just work something out and play it the same way every night. And then Dave, I remember one time we played in an art gallery, and we were playing some jazz, off the charts jazz stuff, and it was just I said, Dave, Dave had like a few things he wanted to play. I said, Dave, I don't even have the chord changes here, You're talking about Dave. And I know some of his friends, I've seen some of his friends just leave because they can't like play unless they have something worked out. With me, he didn't even, because I can still read music, but he didn't even give me the chord changes. I had to go by, well, let's see where his fingers are on the piano, and I'll just like, and if I can't see him, then I've got to just play off my ear. Veg, you know that, just that kind of thing. Like I would hear, okay, what key is he in? He's playing a minor chord, boom, and that's where you go. And you just get so used to it, and we ended up playing for 2 hours, and I still don't know what the hell I played. But I played. It's just somehow you just say, you just start playing and we'll get through this. Where other people just say, I'm walking the hell out. That's not the way I do a gig. But this is for us, it's the improvisation. And sometimes it really screws things up. It's easy for creators to get discouraged. Creative people, it takes commitment, yeah. Burn point. I can only, 1.25 speed. Yeah, I only do it. I don't like the high speed, Trev, but I like it in the sense that, I use less time. As a cure for our ocean. Well, we had Patrick McNulty on Head in the Box channel, and it didn't go well. He's a conservative. I think he's a Trumper. But he's into like thermo whatever, having these generators on with the currents. He doesn't have the stuff. If West was a troll, there was a conversation or Evil Deeds foiled. I don't know. He was an Egypt. West's channel. He said he was a comedian or something. He's defending Dora, the opposite. Yeah. Thank you, Veg. That's what I'm being told on the show last year. Technology competes with human labor. Yeah, it does compete with human labor. I think at some point, again, if we're able to survive, the good thing about technology is if it's done right, we won't have to work. You literally won't have to work. It's like we don't need horses anymore to do the work. Thankfully. Like World War I. Oof, I want to go into that. But if you can imagine, if the technology, if the machinery can do the work, there's no need for us to work. Why not? I'd rather not work than work. Then I can do things I enjoy. I mean, I don't have anything against the concept of work. I work hard. But I'm saying, if it can feed us, why not? Use the power of the sun or whatever. I don't know what you do, but there. Their show, yeah, it's Sandy's show. Yeah, they're very she's meticulous, and it looks like a professional show, and she puts in a lot of time, no doubt about that. And you could tell because there's a lot that she has to go through because she has to know what she's reading, right? And she obviously does. And then she's got Jennifer there who she knows her shit. So yeah, they really keep up with everything environmental. And I'm not just trying to patronize you. It's good. It's very well prepared. Video coming out August 7th. Okay, that's good. What do we do with that electronics? Yeah. Can you imagine, if I couldn't hear Led Zeppelin, and Genesis, jazz, or whatever. I like electronics. Half the shit I buy is electronics. But, maybe I'm a prisoner in some ways too, though. I get that. Yeah, Fetterman's kind of cool. I just hope he stays alive. What are you going to do without good reason? Spoil your own plan. pleasure than work. Yeah. And it's a shame too, Karen, because, you know, we have this 5 and 2 mentality, you know. I get through the 5 to enjoy the 2. Well, what about the 5? Am I just going to keep, you know, losing these 5 days because they've got to work? And I try to mentally prepare myself. It's like preparing yourself for a class. Like every few years you get a really bad class. You say, oh God, you know. And it's not because you know you're not going to change the behavior. Like you can to a certain extent. You want to enforce your class rules, but some kids are, you know, they're intransigent. So you have to psychologically deal with yourself. You know, how am I going to deal with this kind of thing? And when we talk about, you know, 5 days of work and 2 days of relaxation, it seems such a shame that we kind of waste it. But yet we do, in a certain sense, waste it because we keep looking forward to the weekend. You know, why is it we keep thinking of Monday as such a treacherous day? Why do I have to wait till I'm retired to like say, oh, Monday's okay? I mean, if we could at least put ourselves in some type of in the moment status where we concentrate on the moment, maybe we could deal with those 5 days and get more out of it. Be a little bit easier on ourselves. I think that's why Bukowski just couldn't deal with working for somebody. He had to write. You know, I read Post Office, which I loved it. You know, I got it on Kindle or something like that, and there's some quote. He said something to the effect that, you know, like I have to get up at 6:30. I have to do my hair, go to the bathroom, prepare my food, and then I have to go to work and thank this guy for giving me a job, and he's stealing most of my effort. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to put yourself in a mind. I'm not saying, you know, dope yourself up, but. And I'm saying it for myself too. I mean, when I say this to you, I'm not here to teach anybody anything. Just, you know, I'm being a stream of consciousness now. I have to tell myself, you know, how do I look at these 5 days? You know, and best to just try to stay in that moment. And then when those bad moments happen, you know, yeah. When I read Goodbye to All That, like this one scene. It's, you know, it's a novel, but. There's one horse, true story. They all lined up, and when it died, and gave it a kiss. You know, it just British soldiers. But those poor animals, not just the horses, but especially the horses, what they went through in World War I. Just, and not that much better in World War II, but millions and millions of horses. It's not just the fact that they died, but their entire lives, whatever amount of time it was, 3 or 4 years, was just struggle. And I say that, you know, we've been into this. There was a vested consciousness with these things. It's even more vested than a fetus, because the vested consciousness feels pain. It's been around for a couple of years, and we're going to torture this thing because it can't do a quadratic equation. I tell you what, if I had my way with the universe, guess who I'd put on trial? See if anybody can answer that question. In my type of thinking, who would I put on trial? Number one. I'll try to jump ahead. Thank you, Bella. Thank you. I mean it too. Well, I don't need to spoil it, but I'd say I would put God on trial. Because of the way that evolution works. It's a slaughterhouse. It's an absolute slaughter. It's not fair to the animals. This is why I just do my best to put the water out for the birds and for the squirrels, and the turkeys, wild turkeys. Well, humans do go on trial, some of them, and they deserve it, the trial, but it's whoever created it. And if there were a God, it was bad. It was bad. The system, evolution, and it really, if you think about it, it's probably going on all over the universe, and it probably has been. I mean, if things start simple and get to complex, like there's, I would definitely put Trump on trial. A spider, an insect, is more complex than our sun. If you think about it, it is. To get to the point where you get an insect, there's a lot going on. And you get to us, I mean, we're so complex compared to anything, because we have, like a super consciousness. I'm just saying, any God, Okay, I don't, Kim, I don't believe in God. You and I are both atheists. There is no God, and that's why I've said there's no one to put on trial, except for humans. It's like blaming the God that doesn't exist. But there are people out there. But I'm saying, for those who do believe there's a God, because of his inaction and because, above all, the system of evolution, it's criminal. It's a slaughterhouse. It's a slaughterhouse. And the animals deserve much better. I mean, we don't even have it that great, but they deserved it much better. Much, much better. And to think of all the suffering, and every day, you just drive down the road, right? Just go for your pleasure ride and have the nice music on, and you're there, everything's good, and no more than 3 minutes you're going to see this groundhog. Somebody had to run over because they had to rush to Wawa to get their coffee. So, as I say, I've said, like, if you had to choose between the devil and God, you'd want to choose the devil because he killed fewer people. But if we're rational and if we are atheists, we have to say there is no God, and it is the way evolution worked, and it's a cruel, I don't call it a game, but it's a cruel disposition of how things work, and probably how things have worked across the universe, and how anybody could survive it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very disappointed in the system for animals because they're so noble, I mean, most of us, like, you ever see those commercials where you see these dogs that are suffering and shaking, and the cats and the other animals? You can't watch it. Or they'll say, back at 10 News, there's a polar bear who's starving and can't get across the Arctic. You can't even watch the news now. We all have to change the channel, don't we? Because it's the cruelest of things to watch. And it's even crueler when it happens. So if you can't even watch it, meaning me too, okay? If you can't even watch the cruelty of seeing those bears starve, or those lions tearing apart a baby, I don't know, giraffe. Imagine the suffering, the real suffering that the animals go through. And no matter what we do, you can't even stop it. You can't stop what's going on in the forest. And this is why Mendon was right. I mean, I've always kind of felt it, and Mendon brought it out a lot in his channel. It started for me when I saw the result of somebody throwing a turtle upside down. Yeah, don't make me change the channel yet, Harry. Well, look. One of the most beautiful things to see is an animal in comfort and enjoying itself. They have that cute face in many cases. Sometimes not. And they deserve better. And for these assholes who put humans ahead of everything, talking about fetuses. As if they have a vested consciousness. And these same assholes I showed the very beginning of tonight's broadcast with these women marching for lives. And every single one of them didn't adopt. They're not willing to. You know, one of my mother's grandfather, wonderful man. He was really a good man. Religious, but he was a good guy. And I was around 6 or 7 years of age, maybe 8. I was walking along the shore of the Atlantic Ocean with him. It was around, 6 or 7 in the evening. And I don't think there was anybody on the beach at the time. And there was like a piece of trash here and there. And he did his thing. He said to me, and he shook his head, he says, man's just destroying God's beautiful earth. And I said to him, I was only about 7 or 8, but I had enough intuition to think. Like I said to him, I called him Pop. I said, "Why don't we pick this up? Go around, we can do something ourselves." And he is the type of person who would do that, but he didn't. And I think he felt that there was no route out of this, and that person did it, so it's got to stay there, and they should be picking it up. And they should. Just like I have a little forested area out here. And there's always some asshole who throws a bottle or a can. And I won't be surprised if tomorrow morning, because there's a party going on at some neighbor's house today, I'm going to see some shit out there. And I'm going to pick it up. And I spent hours, about a month ago, Ronnie and I were picking up all the shit because somebody else did it. But this is the assholery out there. People don't see that, like those women, they didn't get it until they were humiliated that, oh, hold it, maybe I'll come across as not caring. I'm marching for light, but I'm not going to adopt somebody. Yeah, they're assholes. And maybe that's what bothers me the most. They're hypocritical assholes. And I don't like being the type of person to, just wish harm on these people, but at least humiliation. Okay, maybe not physical harm, but humiliation. And this is why I like the good liars. Yeah, when it all ends, I've often wondered what I would think about the last few minutes of my life. And there's been one theme throughout my life. One definite line from A to B since I was a kid. And that was, things aren't fair out there to those animals. I didn't need a book to tell me that. All I had to do was see the blood. And I have not changed. I didn't need anybody to tell me shit. I learned it when I was, that first turtle. But I kind of judge people by how they think of animals and treat animals. That's the only thing I disagree with Dave. Dave Now, Dave never had a cat or a dog. He himself doesn't believe in having animals. He even will say it. He puts himself, like he said, I know that they could be good, but he doesn't think about vegetarianism or anything like that. He just, we take care of the human race first. That's where Dave and I are different. And I'm not saying I'm better than anything like that. It's just that we're just different in that way. I'll never figure it out, you know. And if there were a God, which there isn't, but if there were, I'd say, don't blame anybody for being bad or screwing up, because you need to look in the mirror, big guy, because you didn't come through. And maybe those things are powerless, and you're all powerful. But you didn't do it right. So, anyway, weird kind of show tonight. I didn't realize it's like almost 11 o'clock, so I've got to kind of sign off. My show was hard last night. In what way was it? Sandy, was it in terms of talking about suffering kind of hard, or was it just a difficult topic? I didn't see last night's show. I did watch your other one, like I said. So before I sign off, if you're still there, Sandy, in what way was it hard? Because I'll check it out. Being guest and she did a present. Okay, then you know what? I'll check it out. I will definitely check it out. Let me put that so everybody can see that. In your face heart, it was a vegan guest and she did a presentation. Couldn't take it, Sandy, but that's nothing I didn't already know. It upset me too much. All knowing, all power, really bad with money he needs. He's neither vegan, show cruelty to animals. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of the videos for the last 10 years. Wouldn't be just hers, but I'm trying to think my way out of it, you know what I mean? Like, you ever just like, maybe if I can just think my way through this, I'll solve the universe's problems. I can't do any of it. I'm completely powerless. It's such a shame, man. I'm just like hoping that one day you all say, "Oh, Weinstein, this was just a movie that you were just taking part in, and we're just actors and actresses." But it's not that way. I'm not so egotistical to think that. You and I are all in the same boat. But I'll try to look at some of it, Zanny. But if I start seeing the pictures. But it probably needs to be done, you know what I mean? More of those kind of things. So, all right. I think that's a show tonight. Strange show. So, if anything, remember The Good Liars, if you haven't seen it. And please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. My co-host Dave can't be here today. He's trying to get well. Yeah, Kim, we had neighbors above us who were from Korea, and actually they were below us, and they used to cook fish heads, and Rami was smell. What is that smell? It was, they're from Philippines. I take it back. They're from the Philippines. Not that it matters. I mean, they're literally burning fish heads. And Ronnie went downstairs and she said, "Look, you cannot do this in this area. This is all coming up. All the neighbors are getting this kind of smell. This is not something that's acceptable." Yeah, same thing, Kim. Same kind of crap. This wasn't Korean. I don't want to get on whoever it was, but it was a different culture, right? And they were cooking fish heads. And we had somebody from South Korea. The guy used to urinate in public. And I had to get this guy to stop. You know, we had to talk to his daughter. He's an old guy. He just kept going everywhere, anytime, you know. Eventually, I just said, that's it. I'm taking a video of this guy. And he didn't like it, but I don't even know what he said because it was all in Korean. Oh, God, I can only imagine. Oh, stick with pizza. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man is time for his many parts. That is true. Only real is God to blame, or the man, or man. I think that, just my opinion, is that nobody's really off the hook for blame. I mean, first of all, there's no God to blame, in my opinion. In my opinion, if you're religious, believe there's a God, that's fine. But I don't believe in any existence of a God. I have seen no evidence of it in my life. But the system itself, I think, was unavoidable. It, you know, this thing was a chain reaction. A hits B, B hits C. You know, this moment here, in other words, it knew, well, it was going to be here this night, with all of you talking, saying good night and all that. Since the beginning of the universe, that was going to happen. Because it's just the physics. Again, at that level of where the universe is, when we don't see the subatomics, things hitting against each other, we're not really seeing the reality of it. That we got here to this place, our opinions, the way we see things, is a culmination of something really large before us that got us there. There's no way I could have been anything else than myself. You could not have tried any harder. You did your best and don't even know it. You did your best. Because we're programmed. We're just made out of, we're programmed flesh and brains. And it's not saying it's you know, it's something we should just forget about. We're computers, but no, we feel pain, and there is something really sad about it. And I'm doomed to do something else tomorrow. And that was already done, planned. Deal was done at the beginning of the universe. And tomorrow you'll wake up just like I will. And you'll do the best you can possibly do, given the function of your brain and what it's going to decide to do. You're only going to witness it. You don't create it. You only witness your consciousness. And for those of you who believe otherwise, that's fine too. But I never got there. That didn't last too long with me. I'm not saying better or worse. It's just I can't get there that way. So anyway, let's take it out with something different. Maybe just in terms of music. I don't know. Yeah, let's put something like this on. This is called the Blue Hour. I believe it's a double-stringed guitar. It's not like a 12-string guitar, but the two strings are the same size. Beautiful song. Sounds like Genesis, but it's not. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Kim. And it was very touching, Kim, with your story with your dog. Now that I know karma more from the things you've said, I really get it. I saw those pictures of him as a pup with big paws. He must have really loved that dog, I can tell. And he must have really loved you, so I get it. Better days ahead, folks. Thank you, Bark Eater. Thank you, Bella. Good to see everybody. Really. It's the best we can do. Remember, it's the best we can do. And there's our veg. My brother from another country. London, Ontario. And it's really not the armpit. Not as long as Veg is there. I think Veg has got paneling in his basement. It's like the 1970s, right? You still have paneling there, Veg? It's so cool. I think he has paneling. I don't really remember. If you'll excuse me if I didn't remember. Sign off in about a minute.